Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the TradeStation Masterclass. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education for TradeStation Securities. I am joined by John Bruch. He's the Director of Easylanguage Services for TradeStation Technologies. John, welcome to class.
Thank you.
Can
you hear me, Jesus? Yeah.
I can hear very well. Yes. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Let me go through some disclosures before we get to class. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that we talk about is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation. Also, active trading is not suitable for everyone. It should only be done with risk capital. And past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. If anybody needs additional information on these disclosures, go to www.tradestation.com/important-information. All right, guys. There's a couple ways. I'm not sure if you guys have been in this class before, but Easylanguage Answered was set up and created to answer questions or clarify certain Easylanguage elements. So we open up the floor for Q&A, and you have a couple ways of submitting questions. You can do it in the chat. If you're going to be using the chat window right here on Zoom, just make sure that you set the chat windows to everyone. That way everybody sees your question and we can all follow along. Or you're welcome to unmute microphones. I do ask that you keep those microphones muted though, so that we don't get any background noise. So yes, this is a Q&A, but it's all on Easylanguage. We have our separate Q&As for TradeStation platform questions, but if we have time, we can address any type of questions here. I know that John is very knowledgeable on the platform as well, and we can tag team, right?
Thank you.
All right. So I don't see any questions yet. John, do you have anything prepared for us?
No, I don't have anything prepared. I didn't have any questions come in, so I wasn't didn't have any particular topic in mind.
Right. So I do have a question. So unless anybody jumps in front of me, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and ask my question.
Good.
Probably I won't put you in the spot.
Right. We never do that. No, that's right. We avoid that at all costs. That's right.
So I wanted you to show us an example of how we can turn a simple strategy. I mean, we can use moving averages if we want, or just whatever the command is, open, trade next bar at open or something to that effect. But I want to turn that. The process of turning a strategy into an indicator that fires off an order. I know that it's completely different, and people that are connected here need to understand that by modifying the code of a strategy turning it into an indicator, it breaks the strategy engine link completely. So that's like generating orders blindly. There are some mechanisms that you can create in Easylanguage or oriented Easylanguage object oriented Easylanguage for you to monitor those orders, but it's a little bit more complex and it requires much more programming to keep track of those things than just letting the strategy do it for you. But I do know that in some cases, some clients would rather have an indicator fire off orders for this reason. And maybe this is an example that you can show us. In the example of having a profit target and a stop loss at the same time. A lot of customers want to have those sent simultaneously, and the strategy is not capable of doing that. Is that true what I'm saying, John, or am I mistaken?
No, you're correct. You're correct. The issue there is in that particular case is, but there are a variety of things that come up. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. Okay, I'm sorry for the way I've got my screens oriented. I've actually got multiple screens, but I can't share them both, so it looks a little tall and thin here. But we'll see if we can work with it. There are a lot of differences between order tickets and order tickets being the object-oriented way of placing orders. and strategy automation. For one thing, order tickets have all the capabilities of the trade bar. So for example, you can have OSO, OCO, MIT type orders, all that kind of stuff. So, you can, where's my, let's see, market limit price, if touched. Here's my, if I wanted to do a market if touched order, I could do it here and use some of these properties, these advanced properties of order tickets. Okay, so the main advantage, one of the main advantages is the availability of a wide variety of orders and order tickets, some of which aren't available in strategy automation. And then the other one is another big advantage is the one Jesus touched on, which is that like trade bar orders placed with order tickets reside by default server side, or either with us or with the exchange if possible. So users who want to get the order quote unquote off of their PC sometimes want to move toward order tickets. The biggest there are two big drawbacks to using order tickets. One is that there's no back testing. So orders placed with order tickets are a real-time only phenomena, and you can't use an order ticket to place an order in a back test. And then the second the second big drawback is the one Jesus was alluding to, which is that all of the strategy related keywords, and let's just take a look at what some of those are. So for example, these keywords, or these keywords, or these all of these strategy related keywords don't have anything to do with order tickets. They're two totally different ways of placing and managing orders with Easylanguage. So all of these strategy related keywords, buy next bar market, market position, set stop loss, all of this, set break even, set dollar, all of that is only useful if you're using an automated strategy. So the other piece, which I guess is the real thing that Jesus was alluding to, is that if you have something, let's see, how do I phrase this, sort of out of the ordinary occurs, the strategy automation engine will alert you to a whole variety of things that order tickets don't know anything about. Order tickets are like placing an order through the trade bar. So for example, if you had a strategy and it used limit orders, I can't remember if the Bollinger strategies, I don't think they do, but I'm going to just put these on the chart so we have some strategies on the chart. But if a strategy, and let's look at the trade manager too. So in the strategy orders will show in the strategy orders tab of the, so this is the kind of thing, the strategy orders, strategy positions, these two tabs refer only to automated strategies. An order ticket, orders placed with order tickets aren't going to show any orders or positions on these tabs. So for example, let's say that this strategy attempted to place a limit order and there were trades at your price, at your limit price, but you were not filled. Then after a certain period of time, strategy automation will raise a dialogue and say, look, there were trades at your price, and it's been X number of seconds or minutes since you were filled. Do you want to do anything, like go with a market order or change anything? Order tickets don't have any of that kind of knowledge, right? So they don't again, they're just like an order placed through the trade bar. They don't say, okay, there were trades at your price, and then let me alert you to that fact. And why would a strategy do that? Well, because in backtest, by default, if you have a single trade at your price, you're filled. So if you want to have your backtest match what happens in real time, then in theory, with a single ticket your price, you should be entering, right? Or exiting, or whatever it is that you're doing on a limit order. So to make the backtest match what happens in real time, the strategy automation engine has to do things like alert you to the fact that there were trades at your price, but you weren't filled, that kind of thing. So anyway, that gives a little overview of, I just want to give a little overview of some of the trade-offs between these two different methodologies. So Jesus's question was kind of along the lines of, hey, let's say we had, I don't know, a simple strategy like this, and we wanted to convert it to use order tickets. Could we do such a thing? And what would that take? What would it look like? And we certainly could. And maybe we can play with that a little bit here. So let me just grab some of this code. As you guys know, we love to use existing code as a starting point. And let's just say we're going to create a new indicator. And I'll just call it MA cross ticket or something like this. Maybe I'll abbreviate. And I'm going to make this for charting only for now. And that raises another, you saw I just selected as the applications just for this indicator, I selected only charting, but one of the ways that people do use order tickets, and this is another difference from strategy automation, is that we can't apply a strategy to radar screen. So if you want to kind of quote unquote trade out of radar screen, then you're talking about order tickets. And so some people do this where they have a list of symbols and an indicator in radar screen that's trading them using order tickets. And it can kind of become, then radar screen can kind of become a little bit of a dashboard, if you will, for monitoring a bunch of automated trading, I'll call it, an indicator doing automated trading of a bunch of symbols at once. But let's just start here with a chart. And so we can actually, let's see. Okay, so we can leave all of this calculation stuff. And we can even leave, let's say we wanted this, the confirm bars, that we had been above the moving average price for some number of bars. And then the piece that we're going to kind of be replacing, if we were going to, is I'm going to kind of block this out with the begin and end here, is this section right here. So I'm going to comment out the buy next bar market part, because that's syntax that we use in a strategy, not in an indicator. And then in here, we're going to need to put our order ticket stuff and code. And I think probably for the purposes of this little demonstration, I'm going to grab an order ticket here out of the toolbox, and you'll see it appeared down here in what we call the component tray. And that creates some code for me, what we call designer generated code. And then I can configure this order ticket. What this allows me to do using this object from the toolbox, what it allows me to do is configure that guy through the properties editor. So if I select the order ticket, now I can set up the properties of this order ticket here in the properties editor, which saves me writing some code. So I'm going to say that we're going to just use this on stocks for now. And we're going to use the account that's associated with the chart, which is returned by the keyword get account ID. And let's just say we're going to trade. We could change all of this stuff. We can manipulate all this in code, but just to set something up, I'm going to say, okay, this is just going to be a buy, a market order to buy on a day, on day duration, and that's it for now. Yeah. I'm going to use the symbol that's on the chart anyway. Okay, so then when that configures the order ticket, I'm going to change the name because I'm just going to call this buy ticket, and that way I don't have to type out that big long order ticket one. Okay, so we're done configuring that guy. So when the criteria is met, then we want to send the ticket, and for right now, I'm going to use this method send and forget. The difference between send and forget is that one, send returns an order object associated with the placement of the ticket. Send and forget does not. So in order to keep the code very, very simple right now, I'm just going to use send and forget and not worry about the order object that is generated.
Could you repeat that again? What's the difference between just a send and a send and forget?
Yeah, sure. Let me, if I wanted to, I could have another object, and this gets a little more complicated, but and have the buy ticket when I send it, if I call send like this, can you guys see this code okay? Is it big enough and everything?
I think it is. I mean, I'm able to see. I'm not sure.
Let me just use this bold font. That way it's a little easier. Okay, so I can call send, and when I do, send returns an order. And then, for example, I might use that order. I might subscribe to the updated events of that order, like plus equals, and then some method that I'd have to write up above. So I might be interested in getting some feedback, if you will. And again, this is another big difference between strategy automation and order tickets, is that with strategy automation, you really don't monitor the status of the order. You know, the strategy says, hey, buy next bar at such and such a price limit. And that's that. Where you monitor with strategy automation is here in the trade manager. You'll see the strategy order for the limit order appear here and so on. But the code doesn't really monitor the order. It doesn't say, oh, is the order received, sending, sent, received? What's the status? It doesn't do any of that. Order tickets do all of that. So you can do things like monitor all of this is another reason people sometimes go to order tickets, is they say, listen, I want the code to know the status of the order. So the way you do that is with an order object, not an order ticket, but an order. And then you subscribe to events on the order. And this gets more and more complicated, but that's the difference between send and send and forget. Send and forget does not return an order object. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah. Let's just use it simple, and
we'll just keep it simple for now.
I like it simple. Yes.
Yeah. For now. Then. Okay. So if the price is greater than the average, let's just double check our code here. counter equals counter plus 1. Okay, if the counter greater than the confirm bars. Okay, so then maybe we just want to trade. So, okay, so maybe we'll, since we're not going to plot anything here in this indicator, I think I'll set the scaling the same as symbol. And that way we don't create an empty subgraph down below the prices. So let's also put a print statement here so that we can monitor what's going on.
That's a good idea.
Something like this. And I think what we may want to do here also, and again, this is a big difference between order tickets and strategy automation, is for now, maybe we only do this once, because otherwise on every tick, again, the indicator's running tick by tick, where by default strategies run only once per bar. We could turn that off in the indicator, but anyway, maybe we should just do it that way. I'm going to turn off tick by tick updates in the indicator. So, forgot the quotation mark here. Okay. So now let's go
because
back.
if it's the indicator calculates on every single tick, and that would mean that a new order gets generated on every single tick.
Exactly.
That's something important to
very, very important, right? So strategies by default do not do what this update value intrabars. You can force a strategy with what we call intrabar order generation to update intrabar, but by default strategies run only at the end of the bar.
Right.
Okay. So in order, now this will at the close of the next bar, if the moving average is still above, if price is still above the moving average, it will place another order. So we are going to be scaling, you know, this with this, but just to demonstrate order tickets, let's put the moving average on the chart, just so we can, you know, kind of keep.
If you want to avoid this indicator to fire off an order on every single bar, there's got to be some additional code that prevents it from doing that, like checking if you have an open position already, right?
Precisely, okay. Right.
I see that.
So again, this is where, and you know, we can, there's some good forum topics on this subject that lay out all the differences between strategy automation and order tickets, and that'd be good to review for anybody who's thinking about using order tickets. But the another key point here is that a strategy will mediate competing orders. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that in a strategy, if we had code, I'll just, you know, says buy next bar market, and also it says buy next bar at 100 limit. What if it does all of this at one time at the end of a bar? Buy next bar at 90 on a limit. What if it did all of this? And so strategies will say, oh, well, this guy takes precedence. Therefore, I will, in the typical use of a strategy, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to ignore these other two competing orders, and I will not. I don't place those unless, for example, you had pyramiding enabled, what we call pyramiding, meaning you wanted the strategy to enter multiple times. You can do that, but by default, the strategy would mediate between these competing orders and say, you know, just do this guy. And or if this one weren't there, it would just do this guy, buy at the higher price limit rather than, and it would not even issue this order, right? So again, this is the kind of things that you don't have to worry about as a coder if you're doing a strategy, but you do if you're using order tickets. If you use 2 order tickets to place these 2 orders, they'll both be placed, right? Okay, just want to kind of clarify. I mean, this is the, and again, we should probably locate those topics in the forum because they really lay out all of the advantages and disadvantages, right?
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay, so anyway, let's go back here and apply this indicator just to get started here. And what did I call that thing? I called that order ticket or something. MA cross, oh yeah. Okay, MA cross ticket. Oh yeah, I knew ticket was in there somewhere. Okay, so we put that, and what we're gonna need to do, and again, another thing, enable order placement objects. If you don't check this checkbox, an indicator that uses order objects won't be able to place orders. It's a safety catch, and you cannot do it here. So people will say, well, look here, I want to go ahead and enable that guy here. No, it's grayed out. And one of the reasons for that, people, not to get too sidetracked, but is that we don't want you to import an indicator written by someone else that's enabled to trade without you realizing it.
Could you imagine that? That's risky, right?
That would be risky. That would be risky. So we gray it out. We show it to you here, but it's grayed out. You can't just enable that guy by default. You have to wait till you're putting it on the chart, and you're going to go ahead and enable this, and then you've recognized that this guy can place orders, and that's a safety catch. Okay.
For sure. Yes.
All right. So, of course, the market will head straight down here while we're waiting to try to place an order. So let's see, if we wanted to, we need to find a little symbol that's kind of on its way up here. I mean, another little thing we could talk about while is like, you see this little essay up here in the, when you use strategy automation, you have these little indications that tell you, hey, the strategy's hot, so to speak. In other words, it's active, it's ready to place orders, and this thing will change colors depending on whether you have what confirms enabled. I forget all the coloring, but whether the strategy is enabled for, let me show you, whether it's enabled for automated execution, and whether you have confirms turned on or off. All that kind of indication is shown via the coloring here of this little flag. So that sort of thing doesn't exist for order tickets. So again, if you want kind of an indication that, hey, your order, you enabled order objects, that kind of thing, you could do it, you could code it, but you would have to code it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we'll wait and see if we cross a little moving average here. Actually, one thing I wanted to do in that indicator, now that I'm thinking about it, is set the confirm bars to 0 so we get a trade immediately when we cross. Not on a stop, but we don't require an extra confirmation bar. You know, and again, you could set it up where the order ticket was a stop. You know, we could have done the moving average line as a stop price. You know, all those kinds of things can be done. It just gets, yep, more and more complex in the coding.
No, that's pretty cool. I think that, you know, gives us an idea of how complicated it is and all the different things that you have to think about.
Yes.
When wanting to convert a strategy into an indicator is not an easy task.
No, correct. That's right. You're into, I mean, the first thing is you're into OO coding, then you really got to lay out in your mind what all it is that
yeah, and you know, the part you showed us is simple. You know, it's pretty much just adding an order ticket, but then what are the ramifications of that? You know, are you really wanting to add this to a chart and have the risk of trading every single tick or every single bar? So those are things that, are things that need to be considered before doing this.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and somebody's going to say, hey, how come it didn't trade right there? And it's because the current bar had to be greater than confirm bars. Even though I set confirm bars to 0, it was not greater than or equal. So it's waiting for the second bar, if you will, to close above the moving average price before trying to place the order ticket. But anyway, this is kind of the general. We'll wait and see if we get another little close here. And of course we do not. But anyway, I don't know if, yeah.
No, that's very clarifying. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Okay, you're welcome.
Let's see. I don't see any more questions here. I'm not sure if we scared people off with with turning an strategy into an indicator, but
yeah, it's a kind of an advanced question. That's okay. I mean, we cover everything from beginner to advanced, and part of the beauty of covering the question is that you realize it's a little advanced. Yeah.
Exactly. Because when I thought about it, I said, well, maybe there's just a simple question, something to show people, but it's not as simple as we thought. So yeah, very true. Let's see if we have any simpler questions from the crowd.
All right.
Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask here?
I have a question.
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Good. Hope you're all doing well. A couple weeks back, John created I'm not going to call it an indicator, but he had a system to determine the peak and the valley on a stock. And he was modifying it because he was getting some false moves during the peak to the valley. And I don't know if he corrected that or if that was something you guys finished, but I thought that was insightful as far as being able to spot the trend, the peaks and valleys very easily.
Remember that, John?
Yes, I do. Let's see. I need to add something here to our strategy. So just to conclude this. So
I don't know if that turned into just a class indicator or something that was added to TradeStation to download.
Okay, now let me see if I remember correctly. We were in radar screen. Is that right? And we were looking at the range of or where the current price was within the range.
Well, that was different than what I'm describing. So like on the chart that you have in front of you, you got the peak price at a certain time. I can't see the screen so small on my screen, but you have the high of the last, say, 15 bars of the high, and then you had the low of the next, like whatever the next low was.
Like the pivots.
Yeah, like pivot high and low, but he had something where he had a line drawn, so it almost made like a Charlie Brown shirt, high and low, high and low, high and low.
Yeah, you had some connected lines between those pivots.
Okay. Yes, we did add that to the EA studies. Yes.
Okay. But you were modifying it because you were getting some false signals.
Yes, and I modified that. I modified that and put the modified one in the.
Oh, okay.
In the EA studies.
Is that the file that I have, John?
Yep.
Okay, let me see if I find it here so I can share a link.
I was just looking. I can't remember FT pivots. No, that wasn't it. Overnight high and low. I forgot the name of that guy. And I may not have it in this. I reinstalled the platform here.
Okay, I think the most recent one that I've got is from August 8th. I think that's
extend channel line? No.
Here's a link for everyone to see. That's EA studies from August 8th. That's the most recent that I have. I've been, putting a date to the ones you send me so that I know which one is the most recent one.
there should be something in there, but I don't remember the name of the, oh, I think it might have been. There it is. No, that might, I'm not sure of that. I don't remember the name of it. Oh yeah, I remember that one. That was different. So let me see. Boy, I don't think I have the. Let me stop my share for a second. And then see if I can import the old. Import the ELD and make sure, oh gee, no, I don't have all of them here. Okay. Okay, let me get these imported. All right, now let's go back to sharing the screen here. And let's see. All right, now, whoops, I guess I want to add study. Now, let's see. Okay. There they are, pivots and pivots 2. Pivots 2 was, this one was from a way back. I think pivots 2 is the one we were discussing.
PSK is saying that he cannot open the file. It's a zip folder. Okay, he figured it out.
Okay, so here we go. So this is the, I probably ought to create a new chart here, so we're going to get confused, but this is the one that's in it that I had revised.
Okay,
So
got 2 lines on it. What are the 2 lines?
no, that's the moving average line from the strategy.
Oh,
let me create
okay.
let me create
Gotcha.
a actually let me remove this because kind of answering 2 questions with one chart here, and that can cause confusion. So let's see, we'll remove that guy. Okay, this is the one where we're working on the automated strategy. I'm going to close this radar screen here because we don't need that. So let me actually go here, and I'm just going to go to a totally new workspace. Whoops, create a chart. And we'll notice actually on our other workspace, that order was not sent, but the print log indicated that it should have been. So that tells me I probably got something configured incorrectly in the order ticket. So actually, yeah. So what I would want to do in that case, just to kind of put a bow on this topic for now, but is I would want to probably go ahead and get the order back and then subscribe to updated events on the order if I was troubleshooting this. And in the updated events on the order, I'll be able to detect with the message property of the order what I'm missing in my order ticket configuration.
Okay.
So missing order type, or let's see here, if anything jumps out at me. The duration's there, the type, action, quantity, maybe get account ID. Let's see. Oh, we're not on a stock, right?
Oh,
I set that up to trade a stock, and
that's a good catch. Yeah.
there. Okay, so let's switch to a stock, and then let's just double check that that the enable order objects is still checked. Yes, it is. Okay, just wanted to be sure. So anyway, okay, we can monitor that on the side while we're working on the other question here. So over here, then we were going to create a chart and look at our zigzag a little bit. And I say zigzag, I guess pivots too is what we call that. All right, so there we go. That's the pivots to indicator that we did before. Now, were there any questions on that? And okay.
Okay, I guess we got the study in there, so I think we're good.
Okay. Okay.
All right, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't see any more questions. So I think those are great things that we talked about today. So John, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining Masterclass today. Looking forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. So goodbye, and thank you for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Bye.